Hi there, in this tutorial I'm going to demonstrate that the dies from the new collection can be used for more than just a diorama. So let's go ahead and create a card with them. I'm going to use the following products from Quintessential Conservatory release. Friends Forever, this is the giant sentiment. Then there is Outside Editions. I'm going to use a couple of dies from here, and I'm also going to need an ivy embossing folder. I will also be using a bird and branch die set. This one is from one of the older releases, and I'm also going to need one sentiment stamp, and again I'll be using one of the older stamp sets. The cardstock I'll be using is by Creative Expressions. The colors are called Stone and Barely Gray, and I'm also going to need a pure white one. So basically it's a light gray, a super light gray, and white. I have pre-cut and pre-folded a card base out of a gray cardstock, and this one is A5 size, which is roughly 8¼ inches by 6¾ I'm also going to need a panel of lighter gray shade that is just slightly smaller than my card base. I'm going to place a panel inside the ivy embossing folder and send it through the die cutting machine. This folder is A5 size, and it means that it also works for all smaller sizes including 6x6. This folder provides nice and deep embossing, and that means you can use the panel on either side depending on whether you want an etched outline or a raised outline. Next, I'm going to attach an embossed panel onto my card base with the double-sided tape. This way I'll get a darker border all around the ivy pattern. I've die cut the sentiment 3 times out of white cardstock. This way I can layer all 3 die cuts for more dimension. You can use the tabs to attach this sentiment strip to a diorama, or you can create a curve on a card, but I won't be using them for this particular project. I also like using a couple of large acrylic blocks to hold down the die cuts until the glue dries. And since I'm not going to use the tabs this time, I'm just going to trim them off with the scissors. I'm going to use a couple of images from Outside Editions die set, a birdhouse and a flower pot. I've die cut them out of silver cardstock, and then I'm going to position the birdhouse behind my sentiment. It's very easy to design a card using those giant sentiments because you can actually build the entire composition around them. So basically all you have to do is to die cut a sentiment, place it on your card, and then you decide what images you can complement it with, and you can use whatever you have in your stash. Before I attach the sentiment to the card, I'm going to silver emboss the stamped sentiment just below the Friends Forever words. So this strip below the Friends Forever words is not just for attaching it to the diorama, but you can also use it to stamp an additional sentiment. It could also be the names of friends. By the way, layering die cuts not only helps you to create additional dimension, but it also helps you to avoid any warping while heat setting. And now I can attach the sentiment die cut onto the card front right above the birdhouse image. You can line it up with the bottom of the card or raise it a bit higher, just like I'm doing now. Then I'm going to stick down a flower pot die cut, and I'm using both the foam tape and the liquid glue to level up everything. And I'm going to position this die cut over the sentiment strip. I've die cut some perched and flying bird images from Bird and Branch die set, and I used the same silver cardstock that I used for the flower pot and the birdhouse. And by the way, those birds are perfect size for the birdhouse. So I'm just sticking down some die cuts to fill in the empty spaces and to balance my composition. You can add as many or as few as you want to, and now my card is nearly finished. It just needs some finishing touches. My card is absolutely monochromatic, so I think some pearls would be a nice addition. I'm going to attach some different size pearls onto flower centers, and I'm also going to add some onto the birdhouse. So this is what the finished card looks like. It was simple to design with that XXL size sentiment. It was also easy to put together, it's elegant, and it's flat enough to be mailed in an envelope. I also like the A5 size of the card and all the big and bold images. And now let's go ahead and create another card. I'll be using the big sentiment as a base again, but I'm going to choose different colors and different add-ons. So let's do that one. For a sentiment, this time I'll be using Happy Birthday word panel die, and I'm also going to need silhouette figures die set. Other supplies that I'm going to need are the brick embossing folder. This one's also from the new release, and I'm going to need some alphabet dies. Those are from one of the older releases by Paper Discovery. I'm also going to need a 3-inch circle die. I'm using the one from Card Builder die set, but any other circle die will do. Just like before, I've pre-cut and pre-folded a card base of A5 size, and this one is out of chocolate brown cardstock. I have also created a panel that is slightly smaller than a card base, and it's a lighter color. I'm going to place this panel inside the brick embossing folder just like this, because it's going to be a landscape-oriented card. And then I'm sending it through the die cutting machine. This is how the embossing looks like, and since this pattern is quite expandable, I'm placing the panel inside the folder again like this, and I'm sending it through the machine just one more time. Well, my paper shifted to the side a little bit as I was sending it through, so you could notice some imperfections, but don't worry, they're going to be covered up almost completely later on. Now I am applying some double-sided tape at the wrong side of the panel, and I'm centering it on my card base and sticking it down. I've die cut a happy birthday sentiment a couple of times out of black cardstock, and I layered the two die cuts for more dimension. And now I'm going to trim off the tabs on both sides just like before, and then I'm going to stick down this sentiment onto my card front. Before the glue dries completely, I'm going to attach more add-on die cuts onto the project, and I'm going to tuck some of them behind the happy birthday sentiment. I've die cut a circle as well as the violin player out of some golden cardstock, and now I'm placing them on my card just like that. The circle is going to kind of fill in the empty space, and the violin player is going to be partially behind the sentiment and partially above it. I have used the alphabet dies to create my own stickers. If you want to know how to do it, I do have a tutorial on my blog and I'll put a link down below in the description. And now I'm using these stickers to spell the word bestie on a strip below the sentiment. I'll be using a couple of sequin mixes to complete my card. They are both golden color and one of them is the swirls and another one is golden stars. I'm starting by attaching a couple of swirls around my word bestie. That is also golden color. And then I'm going to scatter the stars all around my card, and this way I'm going to add a little bit of mystery and some shine to it. And this is how this card turned out. While the first project was really soft and delicate, and it was kind of a morning card, this one has more contrast and it's bolder and it clearly says evening and party. So this is how you can build up an entire card design around the sentiment. You can change the colors and add-ons each time, and this way you can adjust the card for any recipient and for any occasion. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the new Paper Discovery release, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye bye!